is Katie, and I am a book dragon, and today's video is going to be my February TBR, which is like a whole, what's today? Today that I'm making it is the 3rd, so it's 3rd, 4th, 5th, a whole 5 days late. Wonderful, it's been like a week, it's fine. I have all of them written down in my bullet journal, so I'm going to be both reading off of this and pulling them out because I have some that are going to be audiobooks, as I always do. So, anyway, since it's the 5th, the 3rd, since it's the 3rd, it'll be the 5th when you're watching this. Since it's the 3rd, I've actually already finished a book and started a couple others. So I'm just going to go ahead and get that one out of the way, and it is the first audiobook for the month, and it is The Twisted Ones by Scott Cawthon, which is the second book to the FNAF trilogy, which is a trilogy that is based, and it is its own canon, inside of the Five Nights at Freddy's video games world. They go together, but they are not canon to each other. There are threads in the FNAF series, like books, that fill in holes in the FNAF games and vice versa. So, that is kind of their relationship. I'm not going to get super into it. And I'm also not going to give you any more information on that because I will put that in my February wrap-up. So, sorry, but that was the first book that I read, and I will say I did enjoy it, so there's that. The second book, why am I doing this so much? The second book that I am actually currently reading is it this one? It is this one. Dog's Body by Diana Wynne Jones. I got this out of the library, so there isn't a dusk jacket. This book is about, what is this book about? It is about a constellation, the dog constellation. I think it's Sirius, who, which is also in Harry Potter, actually, Sirius Black. Sirius, who gets in trouble and gets sent down to Earth as a dog, and he has to, he ends up becoming the pet to this little girl, and they go on some shenanigans as he's trying to get back to being a celestial, while he also doesn't really remember being a celestial. That's what I believe happens. There is a lot of magic, as there would be in a Diana Wynne Jones novel, and honestly, it just seems really cute, and I want to read it. It's pretty short. It's around 200 pages, so it's almost 300 pages. So, there's that. And Diana Wynne Jones books I can get through pretty quickly. I usually can read them in one sitting if I don't have anything to do and I just sit down and read. I can usually get these done in one sitting. So I'm very excited about this. It is already being really cute. I'm not very far into it. I'm like, how far into this am I? I'm not even 50 pages in. How far am I? I'm still on chapter 2. I haven't even started chapter 2. I'm on page 15. And the first chapter is already really good, so I'm very much liking this. You'll notice a theme in this video. Forgot what I was doing there for a second. Because there are 3 Diana Wynne Jones books in it, and the next one is also one that I have started reading, and it is The Lives of Christopher Chant, which is the second book in the Chant series, or in the Christomancy series, and the first book is about a boy named Cat and his sister Gwendolyn who go and live with a man named who they call Christomancy, and it's Cat realizing slowly that Gwen is not as great as he thinks she is. I wouldn't say that that is a spoiler because she's pretty awful from the very beginning of the freaking book, but this book is specifically about Christomancy, and I think it's about him as a child, and I'm super excited because, I loved Christomancy in the first book. I'm listening to this on audio, and I actually haven't started it technically. I was supposed to start it this morning when I went to class, but I was late, so I had to drive, so there was no point in me listening to it because I wasn't going to get anywhere. But I will be starting this today, regardless. It will be started on the 3rd. Wherever I am on the 5th, who knows? I might be done with it by then, but I am starting it today. I'm very excited because I love. So this is the last book in the Diana Wynne Jones books that I'm reading. I got all of these from the library, by the way. I'm reading and listening to this one, but I did get all of these from the library. And this one is Cart and Quitter, which is the first book in the Dalmark Quartet. I believe that these are short stories. They are all inside of the same, like, kingdom, but they're about different people and different things happening, is what I'm fairly certain that it's about. And I know that each book you can technically read out of order, but you need to read all of the first 3 books you can read out of order, but you need to read the 4th one last, I think is what I have heard, but I'm just gonna read them in order because it's easier. I have read a lot of good things about this. Again, I don't look into books before I really read them. I very rarely even know what a book is about unless I have already read the first book or if I've already started it. I very rarely actually go and look and see what the book is about. I don't know what plots are. What? I enjoy going into things blind. It usually either makes my experience so much better or so much worse. It really depends. Some of my favorite books are my favorite books because I went into them not knowing what was going on. But then again, there are some of books that I thought were absolute trash that I probably wouldn't have been so upset about if I had read about them first, but it's a double-edged sword, really. The 4th book, and this book actually has a bit of a backstory, a little bit, and it is In the Walled Gardens by Anita Firoz, or however you say her last name. I don't actually know how you say your last name. I've never heard anybody say it before. So the reason this book has a bit of a backstory is because this is one of my lowest rated books on my TBR. I had planned on making a video that was the 6 lowest rated books on my TBR, and it was a challenge. This is one of those books. The thing is, that video is not gonna happen, but I still have to read the books. The reason that video is not going to happen is because I went to Brazil, and I didn't realize this until probably right before I moved back to school, but when I came back from Brazil, when my phone rebooted basically and updated and got rid of all the like roaming and everything, it deleted all of the videos and things that were not backed up onto my drive. So all of my videos from Brazil I still have, which I may make a video about. Who knows? It's been like a month and a half. It's been like almost 2 months. So like maybe. But all of those other videos are gone. So I don't have any of my videos from, I started this in November. I don't have any of those videos from November to December, or through to December. So, there's no point in making the video anymore. The reason that I still have to do this challenge is because I actually started doing the challenge on my Tumblr. So I need to finish it so that I can say that it's done and I don't have to deal with it anymore. On a book that I plan on reading this month, and it is kind of, I don't know anything about this book. I've seen it before, but I have absolutely no idea what it's about, and it is Brave Story by Miyuki Miyabe, and it is translated by Alexander O. Smith. You can't really see this cover very well. Oh, there you go. But it looks really cool, and I really, really like it. So, basically the reason that I wanted to read this is, 1, the cover looks freaking cool, and 2, I have never read outside of a manga or a anime-based book by a Japanese author, and I feel really bad about that. So, and this just looks really cool. This is published by Viz Media, so I think it probably is very similar to a manga. I really wanted to read something by a Japanese author because I've never done that really before. My only thing is that, like, this is translated, obviously, so I'm kind of concerned that it might change a little bit the story. Not like the story necessarily, but like I hope that the translation is good translation kind of thing. Next book is actually a recommendation that I got from Tumblr, and it basically, I was going to read a different book that this person had, recommended me, because I didn't really, that one seemed more interesting, and I was kind of trying to avoid this one. But the prompt that I had given them for book recommendations was ambiguous villain, and by ambiguous villain I mean somebody who either thinks that they are in the right and has a logical reason for everything that they're doing, or genuinely does not realize that they are being a bad person. So, like, that kind of idea. Like, somebody who is ambiguous because they have every reason to be doing what they're doing, and they have logical evidence to back up what they're doing and why that thing is fine and they should be doing it. That kind of idea. So, for this, you can probably already tell, just by me holding it down, but, like, Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. I know that this is a super popular book. But just the simple fact that it has an ambiguous villain is interesting enough to me that, like, I would want to read it anyway. I just never heard that before about it. And I know that, like, a lot of people would consider that a spoiler, but I honestly don't. The only thing that, like, if it's one of those things where, like, you don't know the villain until the very end and you start talking about who the villain is, that's a little different. But, moving on. That was my TBR for January that I've already technically started, because it's, like, super late into January. Or February. It's not even late into February. It's just, today's Monday. Can you tell? But regardless, so those are all of the books that I'm going to be reading. There is one more which I have on my TBR for the month, but because it is a required reading, I'm not going to bother including these in the TBRs. Unless you think I should, but I don't really plan on putting those into TBRs and wrap-ups just because they are required readings, so I don't really have the choice in it. I would like to keep these kinds of things to books that I'm reading for fun, rather than books that I'm reading because I have to, even though the book that I'm talking about is actually something that I'm fairly interested in, and still it's not something that I would really just pick up and read. So, anyway. That is all I have for this video. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you so wish. I will leave the links to my Goodreads, my Tumblr, my webcomic, which I will be putting a video up for that sometime this month. We will see when. Kaelene's Goodreads, and the Instagram, which Kaelene runs. So all of those will be linked down below. I usually will put links, or I used to with our old channel, I would put links to all of the books that I had mentioned in the video from, like, their Goodreads down below as well, but that just got too tedious, so I'm not going to be doing that anymore. If you want to go and look at them, I would recommend going to my Goodreads, because I have all of them on my Goodreads. They're all in my to-be or want-to-read list, and you can easily just go through and find them if you want to find them. So, that is all I have for this video. I will see you all next time. Happy reading!